Hello and welcome back to Serendipity Intended. My name is Tracy Ann and I'm so glad that you are here. Are you ready? Tomorrow it starts, Junk Journal July 2026. Probably one of my favorite challenges of the year. I just love Junk Journal July. I am excited. My journal is here. I'm ready to go. And I thought before we get started tomorrow on the actual prompts that I would talk to you a little bit about what I do to prepare besides just making sure that I have a journal, because I have a little bit of a process and it works for me. And so I just thought I'd share it a little bit. You can kind of see some of it here. This is sort of the pile of stuff. I'm going to move all of this out of the way for now and then kind of bring it in again as I talk about it. So let me go ahead and literally just pick this whole thing up, slide it over, and then bring my journal back. All right, so here is my journal, and I am going to go ahead and I tend to like to leave this tied until it gets so bulky that I have to untie it. I probably shouldn't, now that I'm thinking about it, because it's gonna make the fabric get all wrinkly. Anyway, so I've got my closure here and my journal. So one of the things that I do when I'm getting ready to journal for a challenge is I think about how I'm going to identify the prompts on the pages. So let me grab the prompt list here. So these are the prompts for this challenge, and there's a different prompt for each day, and I like to have some way of knowing what prompt I used for which page, just so that when I go back and I look at it later, I can remember. And I started with one of Creativity and Coffee's other challenges. She tends to use this kind of look for her prompt lists. And these here are created with one of these Dymo label makers, and I've decided that I'm going to go ahead. I sort of like the kind of funky boho look that this has, and I think that fits with the journal. So I'm going to use this to create similar pages to these, and then I'll add them onto the pages when I finish each prompt. So the first item in my Junk Journal July kit is my label maker. Then, once I have that figured out, the next thing that I like to do is take my prompt list and some sticky notes and a pencil, and I go through each of the prompts and I think about, where might I want to put it in the journal, and what ideas do I already have for that prompt. I definitely don't think about everything all at once, but I tend to get so excited thinking about the challenge and wanting it to get here that I want to get started ahead of time. And so what I do to sort of get myself ready, but not actually start the challenge until the challenge is supposed to start, although I guess you could start it whenever you wanted to start it, is I think about what some ideas are and I jot them down and I kind of capture them in the journal. Let me show you what I mean. So here's my prompts, and you can see already on this first page that I have some sticky notes here, because these are ideas of what I want to do or what I think I might want to do for any given prompt. And you can also see I do have a little doodad attached here because I'm thinking that I might like to use this in the journal. So I usually write the day and the prompt itself, and then if I have ideas, I go ahead and I jot those ideas down, and then I just go on to the next prompt. Sometimes I don't know where I want to put things, and then I'll kind of stick them in the back as placeholders until I find a spot. I went ahead and placed everything. Some pages because I really do want to put them there, and other pages because I needed to stick it somewhere. And I've got plenty of room in here to move it to someplace else if I decide it doesn't work. So this is a good example. I have this stash of fish from a digital kit. There's some more over here in my little stash. So, and I'm obsessed with them. I love the colors. They kind of fit the fun and funky vibe that I want for this journal. It is summer, and it fit nature. So I don't know what else I'm going to do here, but I'm definitely going to use the fish. And I am totally okay with the fact that he's going to be aimed in the sort of upwards direction. I'm totally fine with that. So that is here, right? So the next prompt was present, and that was being present. And I'm going to use this as a journal for the summer. So really June, July, and August. And I already have some things that I know I want to journal about from the month of June, just some events. It won't be my daily journal, but things that happen that I want to give a little bit more attention to, kind of summer fun types of things, they'll go in here. And one of them has to do with a get-together I had with 3 friends of mine. And at that get-together, one of them brought postcards for each of us and has a little bit of meaning to it. And I thought this would be fun to include in the journal as well. So I'm tucking it in here because this is where I'm going to do day 3. That's where I'm going to talk about or journal about the event. And so it's going to sit here. And then I just kind of went through. So here's where I thought maybe wax seal. And I thought maybe that would look nice with some of the other things that are on the page. And then I basically just go through and place mark things with some notes, and if I have some bits and pieces that I think I might want to use, I include them there. And if I don't have any ideas, just the prompt, I write that there as well. And so I just kind of set myself up with ideas and bits and pieces. Oh, this needed a paper clip. Bits and pieces, so that I've got them there. And then and again, I'm not beholden to this little sketch of something that I have in mind. So I'm not beholden to anything per se, but this is just some ideas to kind of get me excited, get my juices, creative thinking going. And then this is in here because I am going to go on vacation in August, and I want to make sure that I save some room for vacation journaling. So that probably will be, I think I'm going to end Junk Journal July here, but I do want to use these things to kind of introduce the vacation. So yeah, that's what I have. And then I do, of course, have my pocket back here and my pocket up front, which is where I am keeping my prompts tucked away. So that's kind of how once I have the journal, I start, I guess, planning, but it's also really just kind of getting myself ready to go. So yeah, so that's the journal. And then lastly, and I hinted about this in my last video, I do pull together things that I think I might want to use. And if you saw the video where I made my journal, these were some sari silk that I thought about using as the tie for the cover and decided not to. And I might switch back, who knows, but I'm keeping them with my supplies. This actually is from Creativity and Coffee. It is the printable. The other side of this was the prompts. I did reduce this by 75%, but I thought I'd keep these so that maybe I could include them. Some pages that I had originally planned to include in the journal and then decided it was too thick, so I took a couple pages out. I'll probably end up using them within the journal in some other way because they definitely match. And then, here's the fish I talked about. So a bunch of images that I can use as focal points. So definitely some nature images, some flowers, because I love using flowers. The one thing I don't have, and I almost always include, is birds. So I do need to go look and see if I can find any birds that speak to me. And then, always use some paper dolls in the journal, and then just some other bits and pieces of things. So some papers, some more ephemera, some just fun pages to include. These are great for tip-ins and that sort of thing. Some extra digitals that I can use, and then some tags and a couple of other little bits and pieces, some tea bags because, why not? The fibers that I got from the towel and some other sort of summery, beachy feeling fibers. And then some fabric that I had auditioned for the journal cover and then didn't end up using, but could potentially use on the page. And then some other fabrics as well in case I want to go that direction. And yeah, just some little bits and pieces. And that's not to say that this is all going to end up in the journal, or that I'm not going to add additional things, but I find that it helps me with the act of creating. If I have some things that I'm excited about pulled out and ready to use. And then of course I've got, a couple of papers set aside that I could use, and then anything else that happens to be in my stash. So that is how I prepare for a challenge like Junk Journal July. And I hope that that's given you some ideas, or maybe given you a little bit of insight into kind of my process and how I do things. That's it. I'll see you tomorrow when we get started on Junk Journal July. And until then, y'all, make a really great day. Bye.